It is the middle of 2024. Let's talk about the bicycle industry and how it's been and how it's performing and what I think it's going to end up like going into 2025. I was recently going to make a video about talking about how my store has been performing, talking about the ups and downs of the retail sales, the service department, the competition between e-commerce and other retailers out there alike. And then I was checking around Bicycle Retailer because this is just an industry trade kind of website. But basically, it was a great, phenomenal article, which you guys should check out. I'll put a link to them down below, of a great insight to an industry still struggling with record level highs of inventory. And there's plenty of pain to go around. Talking about the article basically talks about retailers always saying that the manufacturers or the suppliers are making all the margin and the retailers only feeling the squeeze. But the suppliers are feeling that same exact squeeze, trying to go ahead and make a profit out of something that's not there, because their margins are getting squeezed from either transportation, cost of doing business. And this goes throughout the entire industry. And it's a really good article. It has a bunch of, I think he says he has like 5 of the suppliers out there talking about it. You guys should definitely check it out. But I want to kind of weigh in on a couple of the things that they were going on about. So first and foremost, how has my store been going lately? So before the pandemic, if you guys did not know, if you ever walked into a bicycle store before 2020, you can go into a bicycle store, you could talk about a bicycle with a tenant there. They can go ahead and figure out what kind of bike you wanted to. If they didn't have that bike in stock, they could take you to their website, either the dealer website or whatever inventory they had in stock, and say, hey, we don't have this bike here, but this is list ABC. We can go ahead and figure out what would work for you in terms of that, and we can order it here. And usually when you go on that manufacturer's website, you would type in the manufacturer's name, and it'll have literally every single make, every single model, every single color, every single size. Now, whether or not that was profitable, that's the way that business used to be ran, and you were able to go ahead and figure out whatever bicycle you needed, and there usually was only about a week wait time. Now, after this, you guys have probably all been attuned to this because it doesn't seem like it's just the bicycle industry, but if you go to any bicycle store now and you want to order a bicycle that they didn't have in stock, usually, majority of the times, you would go to that dealer's website, wherever the case might be, and you go onto the bicycle company, and you scroll down and be like, okay, well, I don't want this bicycle because that's $10,000. I want that $3,000 bicycle. You click on that bike, you click on that size, you click on that color, and they say, oof, that bike is out of stock. When will that bike be in stock? It's saying end of November. Okay, well then let's just go a model down then. That's fine, I'll go that. End of December. Okay, then maybe, I don't know if I have the money to splurge, but maybe I can go up a little more. Can I get the model above that one? Just a tad bit instead of $3,000, $4,000? I can do $4,000. Let's squeeze it out. I want that model. I don't want the $10,000. I want the $4,000. 2025. And that's kind of been the song and dance throughout this whole entire thing. It doesn't seem like bicycle companies are trying to recoup their wide spread of inventory, holding plus 50 of every single bike and SKU model in there, and really catering to retailers, which, again, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day. They're not looking out for retailers, but the partnership doesn't seem to be there. It seems that companies are more going towards the way of no stock and just selling off a preseason. And what a preseason is that basically they take your numbers that you're doing as a retailer, they come to your door, they say, hey, we're your supplier, we're your manufacturer. We see your numbers are X. Let's just give it a round number of $800,000. You guys did a great job. You sold $800,000 in a year. What we want you to do is we want you to give us an order for next year, and we want you to double that. Give us a preseason order about that because that's what we're expecting you to do. They don't want to stock the inventory and basically everything be pre-sold. And if you don't order that bicycle that's coming out new, it'll be sold out. And that seems to be the song and dance for a lot of these companies around the board. All the big manufacturers, and even in this article, they kind of touch out on it right here. So this article kind of touches on it. Unfortunately, they continue. There's a crushing imperative from Specialized Trek Santa Cruz to load dealers up beyond reason. We're talking in terms of over 200 days zoned. I've heard 250 plus discounts in 30 to 40% realm. So basically, they're going to their retailers saying, hey, we want you to take a big preseason order. And in a time of a struggling economy, wherever the case might be, it might not be in the retailer's best recommendations to take a big order like that. So it seems like the bicycle industry across all brands are kind of making this sense to go ahead and make preseason. They don't want to sit on inventory. And if you are looking at it from a outsider looking in, it seems that their way are working. Like Specialized, for instance, their SL7s or SL8s, their S-Work frames, whatever the case might be, Their high-end product bikes are sold out online majority of all the time, and they're kind of just filling them up as they go, and they don't need to hold this massive stock of whenever a person wants a bike. So no, that's bad for retailers, but good for them because of the fact that they're selling their product out. Now, in terms of sales for every single bike, because it's not just the high-end bicycles, they still have a middle bicycle, like a... Now, for bicycles in the past, before 2020, we used to sell a ton of entry-level bikes from $900 to $2,200. And now it seems that that entry-level price point has gone up. Now, obviously, again, this comes down to just cost of doing business. Employees want more wages. Interest rates are higher. Rent is more expensive. To get the bikes from point A to point B costs more fuel. Shipping prices, yada, yada, yada. You know the whole song and dance again. I've said song and dance at least 5 times now. Punch me in the face. But for this instance, this bicycle right here, $3,800, Specialized, doing their best to go ahead and meet market demands with a Tarmac SL7 Sport and Shimano 105 12-speed. This bicycle probably back in the day of 2019 before inflation probably would have been around 12-speed bike, maybe $2,800. Let's just call that around there. I don't see a lot of customers coming into the store looking for this price point of bicycle because of the fact that this bicycle that's catered to that customer is no longer there. We're all feeling that squeeze. We're all feeling the grocery squeeze, the car payment squeeze, the housing squeeze, the rent squeeze, whatever the case might be. Everything in life is costing more. I even just saw an article recently where they said in Florida, like the average salary or average worker per hour is like $29, which is mind blowing. Don't tell my employees that. But yes, the cost of everything is going up. So the only people or the only bikes that are really moving on this price point, which is why you don't see a lot of companies maybe catering to this price point, is when the fact that that person who has the money for a $10,000 bike, you know they come into the store. They come into the store in their Porsche. Their friend recommended to them that they have money. They live right next door, whatever the case might be. They have the money to go ahead and buy that $10,000 bike, but they are just being conservative. They want to buy a bike that they don't know if they're going to like the sport, or they just want something for exercise. They're a smart buyer. So really the only people we're buying these bikes to are the people that can afford the high-end product, that are just like, you know what, it's a little bit of a crunch time, election year, yada, yada, yada. I want to go with this bicycle. Really, to be honest with you, we don't see that customer walking in the door anymore. That is the middle income, that person who might want to get into the sport and saying, hey, I have an extra couple bucks laying around. Because we used to have tools to help those consumers out, like Synchrony interest-free financing. We used to have 18 months interest-free financing, 24 interest-free financing. But again, like I said, interest rates have gone through the roof. These companies no longer offer that. And now that person that used to have that $3,800 or $2,800 to squeeze out of themselves to go ahead and get into a sport or hobby, they're just thinking about, hey, how much more months can I go ahead and afford my mortgage, my whatever the case might be. Maybe they found a different hobby, whatever the case might be. But yes, we don't really see a lot of the entry-level or mid-level bikes. And no offense to anyone who has entry-level bikes, but the aluminum bikes nowadays, now you can say, this is before I get back in the video, you can say I pick on Specialized, but this Specialized Elite right here, it looks cool. Yeah, I'm sure it's a very capable bike and it does everything you need to do. But we go back to like 2012 Specialized Elites. Dude, those things look like racing bikes. Like look at this. This is the 2024 bike right here, right? Okay. By the way, a very capable 35 mil tire, yada yada. Bro, this is 2012 Specialized Elite. Look at that thing. It looks like a race bike. Beautiful. Soar on there. They had an Elite Expert with a carbon fiber crank and Ultegra on there. Dude, that thing looks like a racing machine. I mean, get some people hyped about, like, you know, like buying the bike they want. Like, that thing looks badass. I mean, maybe it's just the nostalgic in me, but back in the day, beautiful. Okay, next topic. All right, so now we got through the inventory, and now that we got through the consumers who are coming to the store, now what are we doing? So we get that fixed and everything like that. Now what are we competing against? Now we're competing against online prices that are going rock bottom because the fact that people are just literally, the margins are getting squeezed so much that they're literally just trying to move cash with excess inventory, whatever the case may be. Stores blowing out items. Maybe they're feeling the squeeze. Maybe they placed orders months ago. Now the product's arriving. Maybe they wanted to be a part of the new product release for, let's say, like a Shimano group or whatever the case might be. And now those products are finally showing up and they need to pay their bills. They need to pay their employees. They need cash back. So if you have a store that you're going ahead and you're making all these right decisions for yourself to be like, hey, I can withstand the down season. Hey, I can withstand this month or whatever the case might be. Now you're dealing against crazy online prices, crazy e-commerce websites. Like you go to Competitive Cyclists, immediately. 40% off, blowout sale. I think they pop up a 15% thing right away when you go to it. And again, this is online. This is what's expected to be. And every single, I think, retailer going into the place, they're looking for a sale. So before, back in the day, 2020, 2021, you went in there, it was whatever you had in stock was selling. Now the fact of like, hey, before you walk out the door, let me tell you something. We can work a deal out. And same with this. We have Jensen. Not only do we have online e-commerces, we also have online used bikes that are being extremely competitive, like Pro's Closet and Bicycle. So you're not only competing against the consumers, you're now competing against every single e-commerce out there, every single other retailer out there that is just literally trying to make some cash flow on there. It's becoming more and more of a theme that I'm hearing people. There was a new group that just launched by a certain someone who's not Shimano. That's a 12-speed road group set. And I had a customer hit me up. And he's like, hey, I'm buying this bike. I bought these wheels from you. I'm putting the new SRAM Red on. I'm like, oh, who are you getting the SRAM Red from? He's like, oh, I got it from my buddy. He got me a really good deal on it. And he told me the price of it. And it was like, mind blown. It was like maybe like 10. It was maybe like a third off the price. And he's like, yeah, he just had it. He said he didn't need he ordered the group by mistake. So he's giving it to me. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So we're starting to see that kind of trend where just people are looking for cash in that matter. So it is a wild time in terms of competing for prices, and people have to do what they have to do to go ahead and keep the store alive. So yeah, it is a festive of places right now. Not to mention direct-to-consumer bikes like Canyon and Factor, which I've done plenty of videos on, and you all know how I feel about Canyon bikes and yada, 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 direct-to-consumer, but they seem to be the ones who are going ahead and crushing the game as well, because of the fact that in this time of day and age, before where people wanted to pick and choose, didn't want to be normal, want to have a little bit of flair, want to go with the brand, now the first category that people go into mind is budget. Whenever they're looking at anything in this world, they're thinking about what's the budget, how much can I get out of it, what's the return on investment I get from it, and yeah, that's how a case usually should be. But back in the day, people had a little bit more extra spending money to say, hey, I'm going to splurge on this to get this because everyone else has a Canyon out there or whatever the case may be. But right here, literally $6,300 down to $6,000, $9,000 or $95 down to $9,000. There are sales everywhere. And yeah, so direct consumer brands are really doing a good job at this moment to go ahead and move inventory. So to wrap up this video, what about ongoing dealer margins? This basically talks about suppliers in a whole, saying that they are still going ahead and trying to figure out a best way to go ahead and conserve margin without hurting retailers, but obviously they need to look out for themselves. And you have the exec of these suppliers who are, they made a good point in this article basically saying that these execs are not going ahead and thinking about the trimming of margins to retailers like they can figure it out. They need to cut their margins to go ahead and save their business because their shipping costs have gone up, their fuel costs have gone up, their costs of interest rates to go ahead and get loans for these products have gone up. So they're literally paying direct consumer, tariffs, everything like that. And it's becoming more and more tight. But with all this stuff in terms of their suppliers you have going on, which cost of price are going up there, then you go into a retail store where you have workers who want to be compensated more. Everyone wants to get paid more money. Everyone thinks they're worth the most. You have rent going up like crazy. If you don't own your own building and you're renting, every single year, if you're not in contract, the price is going up for that rent. You have product prices which are going through the roof. So you have interest rates which are going through the roof. So the more you swipe your credit card, the more you have to pay back on those loans. So you don't want to go ahead and put a big price point out for a product that you can't go ahead and pay off. And with all this coming out of suppliers saying their costs are going up, retailers saying their costs are going up, a lot of these big name manufacturers, these big brands, these big companies, they're coming out mid-year saying discounts is the word of the season. They have a lot of leftover inventory and they want to go ahead and push these products for a good sale. So with us having inventory, with them having inventory, with all this excess going on, and the margin shrinking, then you add discount to the top of it is a recipe for disaster. So everyone out there in this industry, I think, is just going through it. And I don't think it's just the bicycle industry as a whole. I think it's the whole entire economy. What's different from the 2008 market crash of the housing industry, where literally we had this collapse and there was a recession, and the bicycle industry seemed to thrive, which a lot of other people who went through that 2008, they went through that whole entire thing in America where the recession happened. That was because of the fact that our US dollar collapsed and hurt, and we went through a recession at the time. Everyone else in these countries around the area, they did not. So they were able to buy bikes. Our dollar got weaker, their dollar got stronger. They came over from their places. They bought bikes from us and they brought them back to their country because it was worth it more money. Now in this instance, the entire world dollar is going down. Damn it, camera. The entire world dollar is going down. So it's not just like, it's like, hey, the US is going down, we make money, buy their products, sell over here. No, it's everyone. If their dollar is hurting over there in China, our dollar is hurting over here. It's the same exact thing, just there's no more free money. So, but that's what I was letting you guys know. We are still going, we're still striving, we're still figuring out ways to go ahead and survive. We're doing a really good job with e-commerce and online business. There's been a ton of support through YouTubers, YouTube viewers who reach out to me to buy stuff online all the time, which is absolutely phenomenal. I thank you guys so much. That is one of the coolest things about this, is the contact I get from the other stores, from the other manufacturers, from people who reach out to me who say that, hey, I'm in Colombia here and it's similar to this, or hey, I'm over here in Germany or Europe or whatever the case may be. Just the communication is phenomenal, and the helpful tips we can give to another, it's really, really cool. So I really, really do thank you guys for everything you guys have given me, the platform, the channel. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And let me know if you guys like these videos, because yeah, it's fun, it's informative, and it just hopes to put out there. So maybe if you are struggling today, just know you're not going through it by yourself, and just keep on strengthening it out. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.